Hey, what is up YouTube? I'm back again with another video. So in my previous video I showed you guys everything that you need to complete your PRC-25 or PRC-25, however you want to pronounce it. PRC-25 or 77, either or. It's the same setup, just the different components within the radio itself. So your base for another misconception in my previous video about this is somebody called me out on saying that GIs didn't use this and later on in Vietnam War. When I said that, what I meant to say, or how it should have been interpreted, was that GIs didn't use the harness that much later on in the Vietnam War. It didn't mean that the U.S. military quit using it altogether. The U.S. military did in fact use these all the way up until the 90s, but it wasn't as popular later on in Vietnam as the war progressed. So your base is the ST-138 PRC or /PRC-25 radio harness. You got your shoulder straps, your D-rings on each side, and 2 horizontal straps, 2 vertical straps on each side, or 1 on each side, and 1 adjuster strap on each side. Very similar to the M56 shoulder straps. And a rather small shelf with 2 hooks on the back for a butt pack. So I'll attach the PRC-25. I think this is the CW 503/PRC-25 antenna accessories kit bag. This has the AT-271 antenna, the 10-foot antenna, or the 10-pole antenna, and then I have its base, and then I don't carry anything else in here. If I wanted to, I could carry the AT-892 base support, or gooseneck, or the whip antenna. This front pouch was also designed to carry the handset when not in use. So on this side, you'll notice that it has 2 loops of canvas, and that's to attach your antenna bag. I've found that it's easier to do this before you install the radio itself. So we got that attached, and then now we'll set the radio. Now, one thing with mine is that this is a display piece. It is heavily broken. This is one of those cheap $20 ones that you can find on eBay. I also did a few other modifications to it. One being, I've taken out the internals of the radio. So basically this is how it looked when I received it, except it had dirt and leaves and all sorts of stuff stuck in between here. And then there should be modules attached to all this that weren't there. I mean, if it were a working radio, but it was sold as demilitarized. So to get one of these, the way that you order them to be back in working order, it would basically cost, well, first you'd have to have all the modules and the parts and the pieces, but to buy all that, it would be about the same price to just buy a working 77. And to make this a little bit lighter, so I decided to take this out, and I'll probably end up just discarding this. So it is lighter, it's hollow, there is no battery in the battery compartment either. It's basically just a cosmetic item. I've chosen to leave on the handset. This is the H250 handset post-Vietnam. That's because the mechanisms on mine are extremely hard. I'm not sure if all of them are like that, but basically you have to force it down, and then it's a quarter turn. but because it was so hard to get on there, I'm going to leave it on for the video. So now we'll attach the radio to the harness itself. And just sits down on the shelf right there. And then another accessory that I talked about that we'll go ahead and add is the spool antenna. And the spool antenna pouch. Not necessarily a requirement if you're gonna do a 77 impression. However, it's the smaller details I think that really pull the impression together, or display. And a lot of GIs would attach that to this top horizontal strap, even though there is technically no spot for it. And as far as I know, the original field manual doesn't really give a specific spot to hang this, so you could hang it off your pistol belt or M56 butt pack or field pack, rucksack, whatever you're carrying it on. Alright, so we got that attached, and now it's just a matter of tightening up this top strap. Work this back over. Alright, then we'll attach the antenna. The antenna just attaches right there. You just screw it on. You'll notice for this video I have left the antenna connected to the antenna base. Normally you'd have to do that on your own, but just for simplicity of the video I've chosen to leave it on. So there's the antenna, and technically the whole ensemble is complete. And then another thing that I like to do is I like to take the handset and attach it to this back strap here. Keeps it out of the way, and in theory it would be easier for the officer or whoever was using the radio to key up the handset or use it. So now that that is all set, I'm going to attach the accessories to the 77 that really make it look better, in my opinion. So another thing that RTOs or radio telephone operators often carried was the signal panel. So we'll loosen up these straps again, and they would often carry this under the straps. And this would be used to help signal helicopters in. Now you notice that I put it in upside down. I did this so no debris could get caught underneath here, or water. Another thing RTOs had a lot of was the M18 Smoke Grenade. This is my original Vietnam era one. Unfortunately it is already spent, but I'm just glad that it is the actual Vietnam one. The way to tell the difference between a post-Vietnam one and a real Vietnam one is that this lip sinks down, while on the post-Vietnam ones they have a raised lip on the inside. And unfortunately there's no real way to get rid of those, and they stand out like a sore thumb. So there you have it. This is with the accessories attached. A few other items is if you get the 77 batteries, I have 3 of them. A lot of RTOs would use these bags to put over the handset because the original handsets were not waterproof. So they would basically just stick this over the handset and then just tape it up. This is something useful for people like myself who have the H250 handset, which is post-Vietnam and not really correct for Vietnam. Basically putting this bag over it and taping it up with the tape would help kind of conceal the fact that it's not real Vietnam era. They also often carried lots of illumination signals. This is basically a flare. How this works is that you have your firing pin on the inside, and on the inside of the cap, and then you have your primer, and then you would set it in there like that and just hit it on the ground or with your hand, and it would shoot a flare. This is an original tube with a reproduction label, but they basically looked just like this. So now I'm going to get into, if you're just having just the harness set up, now I'm going to get into how to attach your field gear. So this is just a standard M56 field gear belt that I put together. 2 second pattern ammo pouches, 2 second pattern canteen covers, the M61 butt pack, and a second pattern compass first aid pouch on a first pattern pistol belt. So this is a little bit easier to do with an empty butt pack and before you attach the radio, but we'll just have to make it work. So you basically have to, well, we might be able to make it work, I'm not sure. Let's see. In this butt pack, just for spacing, I have a post-war poncho liner, but we're going to need to remove this to be able to attach it. So these hooks on the back of this radio harness are the same exact hooks on M56 suspenders. The same weird little S hook. And they're a pain in the ass. And it doesn't help that one of mine is bent. So you can kind of see it right there. So that's attached. So now it's a matter of getting this strap here on the harness to attach to the belt. And basically, because there is no front suspender strap, you want this to sit as close to the front of your belt as possible. So like so. Now this is more for an early to mid-war impression that they would do this. This radio harness was originally designed so that you wouldn't actually wear M56 suspenders with the harness, which would also mean that you wouldn't be able to wear, not that you would, but you wouldn't be able to wear your like sleeping bag carrier and that sort of thing. And this one is bent too, so that will definitely cause a problem. I hope I could get this unbent, not without getting some pliers or something. Here, I'll try this. Basically, I'm trying to use the slide keeper as leverage to bend this back. There we go. Worked a little bit. Just enough to get the video done, I think. Well, maybe. Really wasn't trying to drag out this video this long, but I apologize for the inconvenience on you guys. guess this is something that I should have checked out before I started the video. Basically, it's just trying to get that hook through that eyelet there. There we go. Okay. So now your butt pack is attached to the back of the harness, while the front of your belt is attached to those straps. And now earlier I mentioned these two vertical straps, one on each side. These you don't necessarily need on the harness. All the other straps you really do. But basically these are supposed to attach to one side of the handle on the radio to help secure it. So now I'll put it on for you guys and show you guys how it would look. Now I think it was in I can't remember if it was some kind of hero or, oh no, it was in Green Berets. They had, I noticed on their 77, they didn't use the gooseneck, they just had the radio attached directly to the radio, which was kind of funny. Not really how they would have worn it, but just one of those Hollywood flukes. Now I kind of adjusted this a little bit wrong. So basically what I didn't take into account for was the strap going around the belt going around the radio harness, and right there on the back. So it sits, you're gonna have to adjust it wider than what you would normally wear the belt. But here's how a basic early to mid-war RTO would wear their impression, or wear their field gear. The two M56 ammo pouches, the compass first aid pouch, the two 1-quart canteens, the field pack in the center, and the field pack would usually contain their spare batteries and the flares. And that is basically it. This is how to attach your M56 gear to the harness and how to assemble the radio to the harness. So anyways guys, that's going to conclude the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys learned something new. If you guys have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them down below. And as always, have a nice day.